Howdy mates, good afternoon. Here's a part 2 film up in the LaSalle Mountains. As promised, I was going to make a film focused specifically on what is known as the Quaking Aspen. They're mostly noted for their white, smooth bark. And often, it's easily confused with what is known as the white birch, which I'm sure it is around here. I'm not 100% sure on that, given that this is one of my very first times coming through this area. But the difference between the two is the bark in particular is very homogeneous. It's very uniform, and it stays on quite well. Whereas if you were to look at something like white birch, for example, it tends to be a lot more flaky in terms of the bark itself. That's a key distinction that you can look for. And I believe when it comes to the diameter of the trunk, Quaking Aspen tends to have a longer diameter. Now, the reason in particular why it's called Quaking Aspen is pay attention to the leaves when it hits the wind. It tends to follow a bit of a quaking pattern, or movement, I should say. Apparently the Onondaga people, that's how they noted the tree. The leaf in particular is a bit more oval shaped with a tip. Therefore, it looks very similar to eastern cottonwood. But the difference, though, is with eastern cottonwood, it has a much more apparent tip, and the edges have more coarse teeth on them. But here is the what you call the whipped cream on top. Is with Quaking Aspen, they are noted to be some of the oldest trees in the world in terms of its age. They can range for thousands of years in terms of its life. Minnesota, in particular, has Quaking Aspen that can date as long as 8,000 years. Now, in terms of how they're able to how that age range is figured out, may have to do a little more research on that. However, even though the trees last for as long as they do, there's a particular reason why that is. This Quaking Aspen that is around us, here we go, it is one single organism. You heard that right. One single organism. So they all use the same root network, along with the mycelium as well, which that could be a whole nother topic. But the point is that all of these trees are practically genetically identical to one another, which is quite impressive, considering that it's just something you don't really hear very often. But they do tend to prefer a bit more of that somewhat alkaline soil. Well, I shouldn't say alkaline, maybe a little more acidic. But they tend to like the cooler regions in terms of temperature. That's why it's not too often that you'll see them, say, in a desert, for example. But if you could sum up one word to describe Quaking Aspen, it's a colony. And that, to me, is just very impressive. Alright, you guys. Have a good one. Take care. Enjoy your Saturday. And, of course, journey on a journey is onwards. Take care, folks. See ya.